Stop it.
Hello all. A warm welcome to all of you. I am Meeta Gupta from Mumbai, India. It's my privilege and honor to volunteer the second session of Chess with Gaurav Bakliwal Season 2. Now, today's session will be a game which was played in Leningrad, 1956, between the world champion Mikhail Tal and Lisitzin. Topic of today's game is The King is a Powerful Piece. So, without further ado, I would now like to request Gaurav sir to take us through the game. Also, I have been told that from today, he will show one amazing position every session, which has been played on board. One of the most amazing moves ever played. So now, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Gaurav sir.
Wow, what an amazing introduction. Thank you so much, Mihika. And you look so confident, you look so poised, and I am sure that the future of India, is so bright. Well done, Mihika. Well done. Okay, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Good evening, my dear friends. And I would like to welcome you for the second session of this Chess with Gaurav Bakliwal Season 2. It's my privilege and honor to take you to 24 sessions, and together we'll learn, we'll enjoy, we'll have fun. Now, today's game, uh, which I intend to discuss with you, which I intend to show you, is a game which was played between Mikhail Tal, you know, and he was world champion for only 1 year. He defeated Botvinnik. By that time, Botvinnik did not play Tal before any game, and Botvinnik was not aware, was not having any much idea of the intuitive abilities of Tal, the attacking style of Tal. And 1 year later, Botvinnik got a chance to again play Mikhail Tal in the World Chess Championship. And this time, Botvinnik played pure positional chess, no tactics involved, no complications involved. And Botvinnik was able to snatch back the World Championship from Tal after just 1 year. So today's game is between Tal and the black player is Lisitzin. He was also from Russia, and Lisitzin is not that popular or top 10 kind of player, but he was always a very positional kind of a chess player. And Tal was very attacking chess player. He used to give sacrifices here and there, a knight sacrifice, bishop sacrifice, queen sacrifice, so many sacrifices, so many amazing games of Tal has been there. But this particular game I have chosen because this is quite contrary to the style of Mikhail Tal. Here he played some amazing moves which are not attacking and which is so very anti Mikhail Tal style. But of course, it's a very popular game. So we'll talk about more about Tal and other stories, but let's, at the same time, see the game, start the game, what the game is all about. Right. So here, as I told you, my dear friends, Tal versus Lisitzin, 1956, Leningrad, which was a round robin tournament, which was top players play against each other, double round robin. So Tal started with e4, okay, c5, knight to f3, d6. So of course it is Sicilian defense, and my audience is very smart. I know it. So after d4, pawn into knight f6, knight c3. Simple moves, pure theory, no problem. G6. So now, audience, can you please write in chat? What is this variation of Sicilian defense? Nimzowitsch, Scandinavian, whatever, Nachdorf. Very easy question for you. And can we have the answer? Dragon is written by Arnav. Okay, Sicilian dragon. Arjun is writing, I don't know. Okay. Mihika Gupta, Mihika is telling this is dragon. So second question to audience. This is dragon. Yes, of course. Arnav, you are right. Mihika, you are right. But my question is, can anyone just tell in chat, of course, what is the reason of this variation to be called as dragon variation? Any guesses, any idea why this variation is called as dragon variation? Yes, any answers?
Sir, because the position looks like a dragon mouth.
Because the pawn structure, Arnav, you are so correct. Yes, because if you look at the pawn structure, it looks like a dragon. Just look at the pawn structure. It resembles like a dragon. Yes, of course, it looks like a dragon. Pawn structure. So here, after g6, I will tell you the correct idea can be bishop to e3, which is what I always used to play whenever I used to play e4 long back. And there is a long theory in it. Anyone who does slightest of error, because it's very tactical, it's very sharp. So bishop g7, f3, knight to c6, queen to d2, castle. Bishop c4 is a very good, prophylactic moves to stop d5. Bishop d7, triple O, rook to c8, bishop to b3, knight to e5, h4. And the game, it is a double-edged position. Black can play h5 also in some variations, or knight c4 in some variations, and it's a very double-edged kind of position. So Tal can of course do this as well, but Tal is Tal. In this position, he played the move pawn to f4 without moving the bishop to e3 and without moving bishop e2. He played f4 immediately. So against g6, generally f3, g4, h4 is preferred generally. So now after knight to c6, now here one idea can be bishop to g7 as well, and then e5. So it's a kind of a trap. So if you play t into e5, f into e5, and knight to g4, it's a very, very nice trap. And now this knight, will you believe me if I say that it can be captured by the queen? Will you believe me? So after bishop to b5 check, even if you play here bishop d7, even if you play here bishop d7, queen into knight, and black is a piece down. Because this bishop, my dear friends, is pin. You can't capture my queen. So it's a nice trap here, bishop b5. And if you play king f8, thinking that, okay, let me at least save my piece. In that case, how about getting your queen? Knight e6 check, and it's a fork. And now, if you capture pawn into, well, I will still capture queen into 2. So coming back, f4, bishop g7 is not that accurate, and therefore, in the game, knight c6 was played. So after knight into, pawn into e5, knight to d7, d6, d6. Bishop e3. Now there are two options with black. One is bishop e7 and the other is bishop to g7, which is very, very logical. And now that you have played g6, you should get the bishop to g7. But now my question is, bishop g7 is a very bad move. But then you have played g6, bishop g7 is very natural. But then at the same time, if you play bishop g7, yes, Arnav is so right. There is a simple queen into d6, center pawn, and black must actually resign. Castling is also stopped because the queen will have an interference on the f8 square. And my dear friends, it's thank you very much. So here comes the first idea, that once black has played g6, it looks that I should go bishop g7. And black has to play bishop e7 here. because he has to castle as it is. But then white played with queen to f3. Okay, d5 is the move here because queen c6 was threatened as it is. And now, according to me, in this position, bishop d3, bishop e2, castle is a good idea of white, according to me. But Tal played the move triple O, long castle, because Tal is Tal, and although computer here gives light better to black, but Tal had different ideas. Maybe he wanted to go for h4, h5, g4, whatever, if plan permits. And now black played a good move here, bishop to f6. So finally getting the bishop on this diagonal. And then he's ready to castle. So audience, your turn has come, okay? And my question is, what do you think the move was played here by white? So let me launch a poll for you. And what do you think is the move played by white? So you have 20 seconds. Bishop d2, bishop d4, g4, h4. Come on, guys. Come on, come on. 5 more seconds. Only 7 people have participated so far. Come on, guys. Fast. Mika, what do you think? What is your answer according to you?
Sir, I think it will be bishop to d4.
Bishop d4. Okay. So let's see the results of the poll. Okay. And 55% have opted for bishop d4. तो मीका आप ऑडियंस के साथ जाना चाह रही हैं?
हाँ जी सर.
ओके, 36% g4, h4 कोई नहीं कह रहा है, एंड बिशप d2 भी कहा है, कोई लोगों ने बिशप d2 भी बोला है. ओके, लेट्स सी दिस. राइट, तो बिशप, हाँ, अभी अर्णव इज आस्किंग अ क्वेश्चन, व्हाई नॉट बिशप b5 आफ्टर बिशप f6. तो अभी चाल है इसकी वाइट की, bishop b5, he wants to play bishop b5, and after pawn into this d5 can be attacked and the d file can be opened, and there is a lot of attack actually, but it is not very conclusive. You know, if you play bishop b5, it is not very conclusive to give the piece in the beginning, knowing that black can castle very next move. And also after pawn into b5 and maybe one move later bishop c3 can also be threatened, king structure can be weakened. I personally don't see anything immediate happening in this position. So, but then it's a nice idea. Let's see the move played here. Bishop d2 is okay, the idea to protect c3, but it is too passive and you are again going back. And then what will you do later? I mean, what's your plan being white? So obvious move is bishop d4, which is played by Tal here. And the idea is to, of course, stop bishop c3 and gain the control of this diagonal as well. So it's a very logical move. Well done, audience. Bishop d4. So after castle, h4. So as Tal wants to attack, you know, I personally don't like h4 to be honest, but okay, let's see the game forward. Rook to b8 was played by black. Very nice move here. Now I have a question for audience. It's not a poll, but my question is, can white capture this pawn? You just have to say yes or no. Should white capture this pawn? Should you capture such pawn in the opening stages of the game? No. Tanishi, Sharvi, no. Nikhil, no. Vedant, no. So many people are saying no. Arnave also saying no, and he's saying that rook b7, queen a5, so many moves are there. Now, rook bishop into a7 is a very bad move. You know, Mika, it's a very bad move. Positionally also and tactically also. The best move black can play here is rook b2. Can you believe this move? Oh my god. Rook b2. What kind of move is this? You are giving a rook, complete rook. So after king into b2, queen to a5. We are trying to attack the knight. We are trying to attack the bishop. This diagonal is so very dangerous. And after bishop to a6, rook to b8, a8, so many ideas can come in. So you can try bishop to d4, queen to b4 check. And after king to c1, you can have bishop into bishop. And all of a sudden, you will find white must resign actually, all of a sudden. So please understand, वो तो चलो अभी हो ही रहा है immediate. My point is never capture such pawns. Please understand, एक rule बना लो दिमाग में, कोने की pawn शुरू में मारनी नहीं. Your pieces are inside, you know. Don't go for such pawns. So Tal now was thinking h5 actually. That's why he played h4. Else there is no idea to play h4 and weaken the pawns. But now he realized that if he plays h5, even this is very bad because of the simple reason of bishop into bishop and after rook into queen to b6, attacking b2 as well as b4. So strong, Achanak, so strong, rook b8 and b file game will become. So after rook b8, Tal played queen f2, probably the best move in the position, and now he realized that I have to probably abandon my plan of attack here. And after rook to b4, bishop into, knight into f6, a3, queen to b6, queen into b6, and rook into b6. Even this position is good for black. But now Tal, according to me, played the best move of the game, according to me. Audience, can you please tell what is the move played by the black hair? White hair, sorry. So what is the best move for white, or what move was played by Tal? There are 4 options in front of you. Let us see how many audience go for the move played by Tal. Knight a4, bishop d3, rook e1, king to b1. Yes, guys, please answer. There is a poll. There is a poll. Please answer fast. Only 4 people have answered. 5, 6. Bishop d3, rook e1, king b1 is 0%. Okay. Mika, what do you think?
Sir, I think knight to a4.
Okay, let's see the results. Knight a4 is chosen by 44% and bishop d3 is chosen by 22. Rook e1 is chosen by 33. Okay, let's see the move position. King b1 is of course a very bad move. There is no idea. You are unnecessarily going away in the endgame and you are trying to, go in the b file as well. Of course, it's not correct. Bishop to d3 is a good idea, no doubt about it, because we can probably stop knight e4 as well. But the best move, is knight a4. So it looks that you are going in the corner of the board, my dear friends. It looks. And this is the beauty of a chess player. He has to understand the dynamics of the position. तो आपको ऐसा लग रहा है कि knight in the rim is very dim. But in this position, it is a very nice move because the main idea of knight a4 is to stop the pawn c5 advance. And there is one more idea which we will get to know very shortly in some time. But the main idea is that I am restricting the advance of the center pawns of black. So knight a4, rook to b7, and now he played bishop to d3 so that he can stop the knight to e4, which is a very nice square as it is because of the advance of the white pawns in the king side. And now black played knight to h5. He wants to attack the f4 pawn. g3 is not possible. So black is playing very good, and so far black is actually having advantage. So after rook to f1, which is more or less forced, rook e7. Now he has seized the e file. Now there is nothing on the b file. Even if you try to double here, there is nothing, no kind of attack can come to b2. Knight is defending it as it is, and b3 I would love to play as it is, no problem. So the rook immediately went to the e file, which is a much better file. And now a very good move played by Tal, pawn to f5. As it is, it's a weak pawn. My rook is as it is tied to it. And why not, if I am getting the advantage, why not to push it and get the black pawn doubled as it is? So after f5, g into f5, he took rook e1. Rook e1. Hello Nihira, good evening. Hello Modi, rook e1. So he played rook e8, and after rook into e7, rook into e7, and here comes the move of the match. But this move of the match was recognized by the great commentators, great grandmasters, analyzers much later, not during the game. So now, audience, can you find the move? Can you tell the move? And here comes the poll. Which unusual move was played by white here? Which unusual move was played by white here? So you have four options: c4, king d2, rook f1, b4. Please participate in the poll, which you might be seeing on your screen. Mika has already answered. She's saying king to d2. Tanishi is writing all of them are weird. Okay. Which unusual move was played by white here? If you are a smart audience, you can answer it. If you know what is the topic of today's game, I have given a more hint than required. Okay, so now 33% are going for king to d2, and 36% now for b4, because I have already given the question which unusual move. Had I not written unusual, you wouldn't have gone for b4. I know that. So rook f1, king d2, c4 are equal. c4, rook f1. Right. Well done, my dear friends. So let's see this. Now, king to d2 was played by Tal here. And trust me on this, after 3-4 moves later, Lesitzin realized what Tal is up to. Before that, nobody could see what is the idea. What are you trying to do by king d2 in this position? There are so many weak pawns, so many things as it is. What? So after knight to g3, and now you have to enjoy the game actually, king c3 was played. And now Lisitzin little bit realized that maybe he's trying to come to d4, c5, capture the c6 pawn, d6, attack the rook. What is he trying to do? So after king c3, he played pawn to f4, and Tal went according to his plan, king to d4. And there comes the topic of today's game. The king is a strong piece. And in the end game, it is a very formidable piece. You have to use your king in the end game. There was one game, if you remember, I don't know how many of you might remember, but there was one game which you can check on YouTube. I did in season 1, in which there was a long walk of the king by Nigel Short. And the king went from g1 to h2 to g3 to h4, g5, h6, and queen g7 checkmate was there with the support of king. And it's all forced. Black could not do anything. So you can check that game. Yes, Sharvi, you are right. Nigel Short Long Walk. That was the title of the game. So here also it is more or less similar, but then it is not for checkmate, but for endgame purposes. King to d4. Now here in this position, Lisitzin missed a good move. And he should have played bishop to g4, which is advantage for black. Still, it is a clear black advantage position. So after bishop g4, rook to d2, and knight to e4. So after knight e4, we are stopping the king movement. And if you capture here, then the rook comes in. or even the pawn comes in both cases, it is white knight is out of play, and these pawns are very dangerous. So rook d2, knight e4, bishop g4 was the move which was missed here by Lisitzin. And he played the move bishop to f5. What is the idea? The idea is to somehow exchange the light square bishop and then get rook to e2, second rank. So Tal obviously played rook d2 here. And after rook e6, knight to c5, rook h6 was played, attacking the h4 pawn. So king e5, the king is a fighting piece. Bishop d3, pawn d3, rook h4. And now, Mihika, I want to ask you a question. What do you think? There are two pawns which white has given. What do you think is the good move in this position? It's a question to Mihika. The king has already gone from c1 to d2 to c3 to d4 to e5.
So d6.
And now the king will go to d6. Well done. So after rook h6 check, which was played by black, which is a very logical move. Please understand. When I play king d6, I am already 2 pawn down. Black is fearing king into c6, king into d5, so many things. It's a very logical move. And this is again a mistake by Lisitzin. The correct move in this position is rook h2, which still gives advantage to black. Idea is pawn f3. It will take long time to capture these pawns, but only one move for f3. So after rook h2, rook f2 is forced, and then f5. It's a clear advantage for black. So you can try king c6, f3, rook to f3, rook g2. And h pawn is very dangerous. So it's a second miss by Lisitzin, but of course we can, pardon that. It happens in the tournament. It's a very logical move. And now king to c7 was played. Knight f5, king to b7, attacking a7 pawn. Knight to d4 is played over here. Now there are some variations in this position, and the best move still is rook h2. And after rook to f2, king to g7. Still black is doing okay here. But he went for knight d4, and after rook f2, it's very important to attack the f4 pawn once rook comes to h2. Even now rook h2 should be played. a5 was played here, and now audience, can you please write in chat what is the best move of white? Now it is advantageous position for white. What is the best move? Idea of a5 is I don't want to get captured here so as to give this pawn as a pass pawn. But now rook f4 was played. Well done, audience. Rook f4, well done. Attacking the knight, and the hidden move will come very shortly. Knight e6 was played by black. Knight e6, attacking your rook, attacking your knight. And if you capture knight into knight, the rook will capture the knight. And then the rook will support the c6 pawn as well. So now what is the good move after rook to g4 check, king to f8? What is the best move in this position? The long king walk. King is a strong piece. Now Lisitzin says in this position that I never thought that Tal will capture the c6 pawn and get himself in the discover check situation. I never thought. And that is exactly what Tal did. And this was the first time in the entire game that Lisitzin realized that now he is in trouble. Now he is in trouble. Equal pawns with white king in an advanced position, attacking d5 as well. And it's a clear troubled position for black now. So sometimes you have to play in the discovered ideas. You should not fear it. People generally don't do it. अरे यार check आ जाएगी, वो घोड़ा कहीं भी उठेगा, check देगा. So what? You have to calculate. What can the knight do? What can he eat? What is there which is left, which is left unsupported? This rook is as it is so far. So after king c6, the game continued. Now it's a clear win position for white, to be honest. Knight into e5, king into rook to e6, king to d5, b6, pawn to b4, capture, capture, and white is actually a pawn up now in the end game with king in an advanced position. King to e7, c5, rook f6, rook to d4, check, king b6. There is no hurry. There is no need to play rook to d5. There is no need as well. So now rook f6, c7, again rook f5, rook to e4 check, getting the king away. And now king c6, planning b5. So now he went for rook f2, trying to create some, pass pawn if g2 is allowed. But Tal is now no hurry is there. Absolutely no hurry. In this check, we can now get rook c4 as well in between. No problem. It's a very machine type of end game. Machine type, just like mechanical. Little advantage, and we are converting it. We are converting it. H5 is a good idea, at least trying to get some pass pawn, but it's too late now. B5, F5, rook to B4, F4, B6, F3, B7. And in this position, Lissitzin resigned in this position. So what could have happened, probably could have played check, is this analysis, which is very simple and straightforward. Queen, queen. And now black will get checkmated. Check. You have to play king to f6, because if you play h6, then queen g6 is a mate. If you capture here, then rook h4 is of course a mate. And now queen g6, rook to b7, queen to g7, and queen e7. Rook f4 is also a winning move. Of course, we can capture the queen, but we are trying to do direct checkmate here. So I think, guys, this is about the game for today, and it is not a very tactical masterpiece generally which Tal plays, but it is an amazing idea of getting the king. And if you can just see the game again very fast. So for most of the game, you won't even realize what mistake black did. You will feel, it will look as if black is doing better. At least in this position, he is so much better. Look at the way the black people are playing. This is first good move according to me. Knight to f. And now comes the king movement. This is the mistake actually. Bishop g4 was a good move which was missed, and rook h6 is not required in this position. If you are trying to defend, you as it is cannot defend a7. So it's better to go for attack on g2 and f3 or h5, h4 with the counter attack. This was the, I think, crucial move. Now this is the key idea which Lissitzin never thought. And after that, he used it. Right. So, my dear friends, from today onwards, as Mika told you, I have also decided to come up with some most amazing moves which have been played on the board. So I have selected some, 20-25 awesome moves, which have been actually played by people, grandmasters, great players on board. And this is one of them. So this game was played between Topalov and Shirov in Linares 1998. And this position or this game has been rated, or the move which is played by Shirov here is rated as the best move ever played by chess.com commentators and viewers and all these things. So it is black to play. and white has just played king to g1. It is black to play. It is opposite color bishop, although black is 2 pawn up, but it is tough endgame. It is not that straightforward. So my question is, can you first of all answer on poll? Poll for amazing move of the day. What is the amazing move played by black? A. Bishop e4. B. Bishop c2. C. a3. Or D. Any other. It is beyond my capacity. Let's ask Mihika. Mihika, what do you think? A, B, C, or D?
Sir, A3.
A3. Okay. A3 is 67% are going for A3 right now. And Arnav is very smart. He's saying that I know this game. And he has written the move as well. Okay. Well done, my dear friends. Very well done. So let's end the poll and let's see the results. So 64% are going with A3, 27% are saying any other move, and 9% with bishop e4. Okay, let's see what happens. Now, you are right. Actually, we must move the bishop somewhere. That is point number one. Because if I move the bishop c2, for example, or bishop e4, for example, my main idea is to clear the square for my king. I want my king to come fast. Only then I am going to win the game. So I want to play bishop c2 or bishop b1, bishop far, so that my king can come here. But if I play bishop c2 after king to f2, king to f5, king to e3, it is very unclear position. And most likely it is a draw. If the white king comes on e3 and black king is not able to come e4, most likely it is a draw. Most likely. Now coming back to the game, Shirov thought for quite some time, and the dynamics of the tournament was such that he needed to win this game, and he tried very hard in the earlier part as well. And then all of a sudden he thought of an idea and he played this move without deep calculations, and that is what he says. It was more of an intuitive idea than actual calculation in the end game. And as it is, he said, I knew I could never lose this position. I knew I could never lose this position. And the move played is, Arnav, you are absolutely right. Awesome. And can you believe, audience, can you believe the move is bishop to h3? Oh my God. So what is the idea? The idea is to just gain one tempo, one move, just one move. If you play still king to f2 and king to e3, then I will capture your bishop g2 pawn. You will left your g2 pawn unattended and I will capture it. So that is my idea basically. And if you capture it, which is what Topalov did, he has, as it is no other choice. And now he played king to f5, and after king f2, e4 was a possibility which he did, and he did not even bother of bishop f6. Can you believe? He did not even bother, because he knew my a3 pawn and d5 pawn are very strong. Once I get my king to c2, c4 somehow, I'll win the game. So he played king e4. Topalov captured here, bishop f6. And after pawn to d4, bishop to e7, because a3, a2 was as it is, threatened. King d3 is the key move here. King d3, bishop c5, king c4. My God. Bishop to e7, king b3. Look at the way the king is moving, just like steps of a dancing, dance steps or something like that. Nothing absolutely white can do about it. So after king to b3, in this game, white resigned here. And if he plays king e2, the game would have continued king to c2, bishop to b4, check, e1, a3. And now the bishop is overloaded. It cannot control both diagonals simultaneously. Either the d pawn has to queen or the a pawn has to become a queen. So coming back to original position, bishop h3, if he captures here, if I can just tell you one analysis, and now king to e4, probably a better defense is king e2, probably a better defense. Don't capture the pawn and try to get your king as early as possible in the defense. But my dear friends, even here, black is winning actually, because there are three pass pawn now. So after d4, bishop to b2, check, b2, and f5. It's a clear win position for black. Absolutely nothing you can do about it. Okay, so this is the position, most amazing game which I would like to show you, one position every week. And now comes the time for homework. The homework which I gave in the last session was this. First of all, I would like to announce three people to whom I have already done the 100 rupees prize payment. And can we actually clap for those guys? Ilakshi Srivastav from Jaipur. We have Jagrat Modi from Gujarat. And of course, we have Sherkhane, Vivan Sherkhane from Mumbai. So these three people, Jagrat Modi is here. He is writing, he's from Rajkot, Gujarat. Okay, well done, my dear friends. The question was white to play and do a forced draw. Forced draw करना है हमें. And first of all, thank you audience for giving the answering in good numbers. We have selected three people by lottery method, although we got 7 correct answers, and there were 11 total answers received by us. So please keep showering your love and encouragement, my dear friends. And this position, white can of course win. One mail I got very funny, the person said, why do you want to draw when there is a checkmate in one move? When you can do a checkmate, why do you want to draw? So it's a very nice question. And this is, creative homework puzzle. You need to think out of the box. You need to somehow apply some creativity in homework puzzles. So here the question is white to play and do a forced draw, irrespective of the wish of black. White has to draw. So here the answer is, of course, c4 check. There is no move legal, you have to capture. c4 check. No legal move available, you have to capture. Knight check. It's a checkmate position, you have to capture. Knight check. Again, you have to capture. And now it's a draw, stalemate. White has got no legal move available. This pawn, this pawn cannot move at all. And the king cannot come to c3, c4, d4, e4, e3, e2, d2, c2. No legal move available for white. It's a stalemate. So it's a draw. Well done, my dear friends, whosoever has answered. Now the homework coming for you for today. Okay, so again 100 rupees prize. Top 3 people, you have to mail your answers. I will write the mail ID in chat. Okay, please mail at chess with Gaurav Bakliwal @gmail.com. So it shows that I am a male. Otherwise, the mail ID would have been gfemale.com. Very funny. Okay, chess with Gaurav Bakliwal @gmail.com. Please mail your answers with your mobile GPay numbers. Please write your GPay numbers as well in the mail. Google Pay numbers. What's the question? So it's an amazing creative puzzle. You have to create a game. White also you play whatever you want. Black moves also you play whatever you wish. Okay. Black should do a checkmate in exactly 5 moves by promoting the pawn to a bishop. I repeat, you create a game, black and white, whatever. You play whatever legal moves, but black should do a checkmate in exactly 5 moves, or his 5th move, by promoting pawn to a bishop. Black should do a checkmate in exactly 5 moves by promoting pawn to a bishop. How is it possible? Create the game. Arjun is saying I am not able to see the position. No, it's a starting position, Arjun. Starting position, chessboard. You create a game. 5 चालों में आपको इस तरह से गेम करना है. व्हाइट की चाल चलिए, आप ब्लैक की चलिए, और ब्लैक जो है वो 5 चाल में, 5वीं चाल में चेकमेट करेगा, बिशप बनाएगा, पॉन प्रमोशन बिशप. सो दैट बिशप कैन बी अ कैप्चर ऑल्सो. ऐसा भी हो सकता है, जैसे एग्जाम्पल, ये पॉन जो है ये यहां तक चली चली और इसने इसको मारा और यहाँ मार के बिशप बन गई. इट इज ऑल्सो पॉसिबल. बट 5th मूव पॉन प्रमोशन बिशप चेकमेट. 5th मूव तो ज्यादा डिफिकल्ट नहीं है ये. क्यों नहीं है? क्योंकि आपको पता है कि ब्लैक की तो मुझे पॉन ही चलानी है. 5 चाल तो कोई भी पॉन को यहाँ आने में लगेंगे ही लगेंगे. ब्लैक तो कुछ और चलेगा ही नहीं पॉन के अलावा. अब कौन सी चलानी है, व्हाइट का क्या क्या चलाना है, दैट यू हैव टू थिंक. वेडनेसडे रात 12 बजे तक मेल कर दीजिए विद योर जीपे नंबर्स. टॉप 3 करेक्ट 3 आंसर्स को 100 रुपीज प्राइज दिया जाएगा. Okay, so thank you so much. Mika, would you like to say something? How did you like the session?
Yes, sir. I would like to extend my heartfelt thanks to everyone attending this session, and a special thanks to our beloved Gaurav sir. Sir, your sessions are very inspiring, instructive, and interactive, which makes learning filled with fun. Thank you so much, sir. I would also like to express my gratitude for giving me this opportunity to volunteer in your amazing series of sessions. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mika. Thank you so much. And you look so pretty today. You know, you have made the session amazing. And I would like to extend my thanks to you as well. You are really blowing. You are mind blowing today. Thank you, Mika. Thank you, audience. Thank you so much. Okay. Bye bye. I'll see you next Saturday. And we'll have a session, one more game. And thank you so much.